David
Collins.
30 minutes. Show with David
Collins.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of David Collins' 30-minute half-hour show. I'm your host, David Collins, and we have a jam-packed, very exciting episode for you today. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't tell you how much we have to cover today, but I think we're going to get through it all. One thing, of course, we had a bit of an issue getting a guest this month. It might have been noticeable. But of course, we do have some great guests planned for the month of June. We're going to get a little more into some of the troubles that we've had this month here, but we're really looking forward to June and some of the guests we have lined up. Also, we're going to be talking a little about Floodwater Comedy Festival today. Last weekend, the team and I took a trip out to Floodwater and visited the festival. We have a fun tease there, of course. You're definitely going to want to stay tuned for that. We'll talk a little bit about this alleged rap contest and much more there. Plus, of course, plenty of emails and voicemails to catch up on. I'm really enjoying some of these voicemails and emails. Make sure you email me, dc30minutehalfhour@gmail.com, and we'll read some of those on the show. I wish we could get to all of them. And maybe even by the end of the show, if we have time, a quick game. Before we start the show today, though, of course, everybody's favorite, color of the day. Today's color of the day, Floodwater. Of course, to commemorate the festival, I attended, and also, what a great color. Floodwater to some people mean a natural disaster. But I've recently learned to some also a melting pot. Made of 113 red, 150 green, and 157 blue, today's color of the day, Floodwater. One last thing before we start the show. Today's sponsor of the show, Cosmic Oasis Coffee Emporium in the historical downtown district of Galena, Illinois. Greetings, Earthlings, followers old and new. We come in peace. Excitedly inhabiting the storefront at 240 North Main Street to provide your favorite teas, coffees, lemonades, lotus plant-based energy drinks, snacks, and crop circles. Cosmic Oasis hopes to adopt you all as loyal customers and friends. More updates to come soon as they get settled here on Earth, or Main Street. Stay tuned. Cosmic Oasis Coffee Emporium, visitors from all over the universe. Thank you, Cosmic Oasis, for sponsoring the episode today. Of course, it's just a solo episode today, no guest, but we're still going to get right into world news with David Collins. And a lot of things to cover here, some things that I think I would have rather had a guest here to talk about, but we're still going to get through some of these stories. And of course, I'm sure many of you are aware that a second Boeing whistleblower had died recently. Joshua Dean, dead April 30th. Who is selling these whistles? You know, I've always wondered, who's putting all the nails on the side of the highway that pops tires? I wonder if they're related at all. This gentleman, Joshua Dean, apparently had a staph infection that quickly developed into pneumonia. Good to hear Boeing's staph infection is starting to clear up, though. It's that time of year again, and we'll be dealing with the cicadas. And I feel like it's every year that we're talking about this. These bugs that crawl out of the ground every 13 to 17 years. I'm not even sure if that's the right timeline. It seems to be happening a lot more common than that. They climb out of the ground with a collective song as loud as jet engines. And just like a Boeing jet, they won't be in the air for long. I heard there's some risk that some of these are going to be on the street, and there's going to be so many of them that it'll actually make the street slick. Cicadas prefer to lay their eggs in slits in branches about half an inch in diameter. So if you have young trees out there, make sure to cover them up. It's 10 p.m. Where are your trees? The Tom Brady roast just passed, and I was really looking forward to talk about this with our guest today. Unfortunately, of course, that is not going to happen, but, you know, maybe we'll be able to talk about that in a few moments here. Another thing I wanted to talk about in world news here, Kamala Harris dropped an F-bomb, and I believe we have a clip here. This was an exciting story.
We have to know that sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open. Sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that door down.
You know, I knew she was friends with P. Diddy. I had no idea she also had a background as a shock jock. The people were saying that she did this in an effort to try to seem more relatable to the younger demographic. And I'll tell you, Kamala, in my opinion, she should try maybe a little less Kamala Howard Stern, a little more Kamala Hairband. You know, Jerry's with us today, which is very nice. I'm glad you could finally be here. Maybe it's just a solo episode, but that's fine. But Jerry, I think we should maybe look into some elements or something to kind of accentuate. I don't think that one works really without much of a visual. Lastly, Iranian President Ebrahim Rizolzadeh died in a horrific helicopter accident earlier this week. It has been deemed an accident by all accounts. Apparently, the U.S.'s sanctions in Iran there causes them to have to use a bunch of faulty or used parts, and they have a big problem with helicopter and plane accidents. You know, as much as we like to talk about these stories and maybe add a joke or something like that, when it comes to a helicopter crash, I'm a little more hesitant. Maybe unlike somebody else that we'll be talking about pretty soon here, though. But I guess that makes up, that was World News with David Collins. And like I said, we have a real jam-packed episode for you today. I'm not even sure really where to start. Luckily, we have a lot of great notes, and I appreciate that there. I guess we'll just go down the list that you gave me here, Jerry. We'll start with some of the smaller things here, and then we'll really get into the meat of what I wanted to talk about here. But we're just going to get right into our main segment today, DC's CDs.
David Collins.
Captivating developments.
So I guess first here, we want to briefly talk about this rap contest. So we talked a little about this before, and I also appeared recently on the Blind Mike Project and tried to plug this contest and maybe get one of those comedians' attention. Now, I've gone out of my way, I've reached out on social media, I've sent multiple emails. I'm starting to think that this was just a big prank by Jerry for me to create a submission for this contest, so I'm not really sure. He insists that it's not a prank so far. We've even gone on social media to try to get their attention. The next step was Jerry suggested that I just call their show the Rap Podcast while they were live. So last week, both Monday and Wednesday, between the hours of 11 a.m. and 12 p.m., I probably called that line 20 times, no answer. So at this point, we have moved on there, I believe, but if anybody wants to assure me that it was not a prank, please send me a clip or something. Jerry I can't really take him seriously on that account there. We do have some good news for those of you who are watching the reality show. You might already kind of know a little bit about this story. So, of course, we have a comedy club in Dubuque, Iowa. That was very nice. It's in that Iowa area, so it's close for everybody in this area. But it had closed, the Dubuque Comedy Bar. The Comedy Bar in Dubuque. Unfortunately, that had closed recently. You may have seen that if you watched episode 2 of our reality show. Luckily, the venue has been repurchased by friend of the show, Johnny O. Now, Johnny has not appeared on my show, but I went ahead and appeared on his show in December, the Johnny O Podcast. Now, this is somebody that has a background in music and producing, and he rented out that venue there. He has it for, I'm not sure exactly but things are starting to get booked. It's going to be reopening in June as the Jester's Lounge. So that's very exciting, and a lot of people are really looking forward to that, so maybe check out the Jester's Lounge, or we're just sharing, but I'm looking forward to it, though. It'll be great to have that, and who knows, maybe that will even be the venue that I'll be headlining here in the fall for the reality show. One other thing we need to touch base on here, this was a little important, it was a bit fun. So, in 2021, I made a documentary of sorts about the YouTube channel and the character Stephen Gordon of the website and YouTube channel Joking.com. I've put it up on the YouTube this year. Jerry suggested that we get it up on the channel and people could see that, and it's gotten such a positive reaction. I'm very happy about that. If you haven't seen that Joking.com video, I recommend you check it out. And boy, I love that Stephen Gordon. I've always been a fan of his, and I'd love to get him on the show. His sketch writing is very strange, but it would be interesting to talk to. Zippers for your pants? It's an interesting sketch, and I want to get him on the show, and we've actually been able to open up communications. Unfortunately, though, those communications were opened up for the wrong reasons. It appears YouTube went ahead and sent me all of their correspondence and assured me that the video is staying up and that everything is good, but they gave me a lot of information showing Stephen Gordon's correspondence to YouTube, showing that he was trying to get that video taken down. Which I wasn't too happy about that, so I reached out to Stephen Gordon and tried to mend the situation. He has so far only threatened me with multiple lawsuits. So we'll see exactly where that goes. If anybody knows Stephen Gordon, please have him reach out in a more respectable way, and we could open up a better dialogue than what we have going on right now. I tell him, hey, it's all resolved, it's over, the video's staying up, why don't we just talk about it? He thinks that I'm slandering him, so we'll have to see there. But that was that Joking.com video. At least he's noticed. I'm glad that he liked it. Lastly, before we really get into the meat of the episode today, and I say it like that, but we are going to be going over some great emails and great voicemails, and I'm looking forward to that. But there's something really important that I feel we have to address today, and I think that's going to take up a lot of our time. But before we do that, why don't we lighten the mood? Of course, I talked a little about, we went to Floodwater Comedy Festival in Iowa City last week, and we met with comedians and audience members and all types of people outside that festival, and did some street interviews and just had a good time there. And we have a lot of footage. We were probably out there for about 6 hours. We're going to be putting up a lot of those clips on the Instagram, so make sure you're checking that out. DC 30-minute half-hour show on Instagram. But we're also going to be putting some things on the YouTube here. Starting with today, I just want to give a little bit of a teaser so that you guys can see a little bit of what we did out there and maybe have people looking forward to some of those upcoming clips. So why don't we go ahead and play that here? Anyway, yeah, we're recording, right?
Oh, yeah, we're recording.
Oh, was he going to jump if we weren't here?
Saved a life, David.
We just saved a life. Hey, I'm David Collins, and I'm here at Floodwater Comedy Festival in Iowa City. For the festival. Are we having any issues back there? Boy, what an exciting time. A lot of regional comedians here. Also, a lot of comedians from Chicago. And even some more national comedians. I believe we're going to try to run into Lori Kilmartin, I think is her name. And I want to ask her about writing on Tough Crowd, given that Colin Quinn just had a brand new comedy special. We're hoping to run into some regional comedians and ask them if this is their first time at Floodwater, and hopefully even talk to some audience members to see how much they've enjoyed the show. Unfortunately, as you can see behind me, they've recently knocked down a bridge that's pivotal to the street that a lot of these people are performing comedy on. So we have noticed the crowds might not be too large, but we're going to go ahead and check it out and see if we can get some interviews. Uh-oh. Looks like we got a trespasser back here. Sir, are you on your way to the comedy festival?
Hello?
Are you on your way to the comedy festival?
Hi?
Hello. Are you on your way to the comedy festival?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Well, I hope you have a great day. You're dressed very nice.
Oh, thank you.
Where are you headed?
About 10,000 kilometers away. Anyway, have a nice day.
10,000 kilometers. Boy, that's going to be a long walk. How exciting. Hey there, my name's David Collins, and I'm here outside Sanctuary Pub in Iowa City for the 4:30 show, The Booze Cruise. So your name's Cassandra, you're a local comedian, you're on the festival today.
That I am.
So I'm here with...
I'm Nong.
Nong. Yes. Okay, we're here with Nong, and he's here to see we're at the Booze Cruise, is that right? That's what this...
Yes.
Brad Klein.
Brad Klein. I've never met you. My name's David Collins.
Nice to meet you.
My hands are a little full. I'd shake your hand. You know, last year we had to shake a lot of people's hands. I had a different setup here. We ended up not getting any audio. So we have a better setup this time. But now I can't shake anybody's hands. I was really proud last. Oh, it's very smart. Are you part of the improv show?
I'm not. Stand-up comedy.
Oh, well, you could have fooled me there. A lot of people will see Brody here and say, oh, is he just an audience member? No, Brody is a very funny stand-up comedian in Iowa City here.
Cedar Rapids, actually.
Cedar Rapids? It's pretty much the same community, would you say?
Yeah. Oh, I would say so, yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think the show's going to go? How much do you think you're going to enjoy it?
I'm hoping for a 10.
Realistically.
Enjoy it regardless.
Maybe Kelly will be a 10, but, you know, strangers could be a hit and miss.
I mean, I've been surprised with the comedy scene here in Iowa City so far. I'm not from around here, but realistically, 7 minimum, honestly.
Well, you look very beautiful. How do you decide what to wear for a comedy show? As a female comedian, you have to wonder. You say, everybody's going to be judging me on what I look like.
Well, and let's be fair, in comparison to the male comedians, just the game for female.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these male comedians are wearing shorts.
Ridiculous. Absolutely. Cargo shorts with pockets, and who knows what's in those pockets.
Are you the only comedian that does sign language as they do comedy?
No, there's a few of us. There's historically a bunch of us that, some people my parents' age, some people, in between generations. There's a few people younger than me. But yeah, there's not many of us, but there's some.
That's fascinating. Now, the thing is, it's such a nice day out. We were in the Quad Cities yesterday. People were canceling shows. I think everybody's just out camping.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Are there a lot of people that like camping in Iowa City?
I don't know. Usually on the streets, yeah.
There are a lot of stereotypes about Iowa City. I'm sure there's plenty of camping jokes you could make.
Probably, yeah.
That's one thing I wanted to ask. I noticed by looking at the list, I thought that there were fewer LGBT comedians than there were in the past, but there were probably 50% female comedians on the shows.
Really? Because the show I'm on tonight is all dudes.
Hey there, would any of you want to talk and tell me about if you enjoyed the show or anything about that?
Oh, it was great.
It was great? What do you think about it on a scale of 1 to karaoke?
Karaoke?
Well, that's great. The people in Iowa City love karaoke. So, on a scale of 1 through karaoke, how would you describe today's show?
I would say, is karaoke good?
But I didn't want my parents to be left out, and I'm telling jokes about them, so don't want to leave them out, so I'd start signing and speaking it just like I would at home. And
do you ever stop moving your hands and say, I'm saying this behind their back now?
Sometimes I can sign differently than what I'm saying, but it's definitely muscle memory, so I have to practice.
Oh wow, that sounds like a difficult trick there.
Yep.
Tell me about your hat.
Well, it's an Oakland A's hat. It's the hat they wear at their home games. They're moving to Las Vegas next year, so I don't know if they'll keep the same style or not.
That's interesting. Well, there's probably a lot of A's and F's being thrown around Vegas, so it would be a good name for them. Maybe they'll change it to the Oakland F's. How was tonight's show?
So far, so good. Yeah.
Oh, you'll be going to the next ones?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm anxious to see Lori Kilmartin.
Just for today. Are you going to catch Lori Kilmeister?
Lori Kilmartin, yes.
And then I saw her in Minneapolis at, I think it was Acme Comedy.
Oh, wow. Do you ever do any meet and greets and say, hey, Lori, I'm here to see you again? She says, oh, great to see you.
Yeah, well, she was hanging out, and Nick Swartzen was in the bar, too, so I got to talk to him.
Oh, wow. Nick Swartzen. Yeah. Did you hear about his story in Denver a few months ago?
I did.
And Nick Swartzen, I hope he wasn't like that when you got to meet him.
No, he wasn't.
Boy, he's a risky. You sound like a real fan of comedy. You're very...
Oh, yeah, I'm a huge fan, yep.
It's good. I was on the first show, the very first one. I'm going to be on the very last one. I didn't go yesterday, so I can't really. It's been going all right so far.
But you've heard good things.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
What have you heard?
That people have been laughing, showing up, kind of. So yeah.
Well, that's perfect. That's what the festival is for: love, representation, and finally laughs. Last year when we were here, these streets were packed. People walking by, people going to shows, people talking to us while we do shows. I think he yelled out David Collins. You guys hear that?
I heard that, yeah.
Delicious. Do you know anything about the Englert Theater?
I'm not familiar with it at all, David.
Well, this is where they're going to be doing a lot of the events this evening, the bigger events. Right now, they're setting up for some improv show, improvised Jane Austen, something like that.
Double XL.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And I'm gonna hit. You can see me hitting. This is probably not recording anymore, is it? Oh, you can hit me seeing the Forest Air over by Willow Creek Theater later tonight before my set. We're gonna ollie the Forest Air, so check it out, dude.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Day to day.
Jerry always does a great job editing these together. I already told you that, but why don't we say it publicly? Great job, Jerry. And if anybody sees Jerry, make sure you let him know how well of a job he's doing on some of these clips that we're going to be seeing on the Instagram, as well as that teaser there. That was great to see. Finally, we have to get to this, and I really, like I've said before, we try to avoid negativity on this show, so we're going to try to take this as positively as we can and just go through the motions and do some real objective reporting, I think. I'm not really sure, but we're going to have to talk about a little bit about this guest that I would love to have had on the show this month. In fact, we would have loved to have him interview for the reality show and a few other things, or just give me a no and interaction. Now, of course, this is not the first guest that has turned me down or even left the messages unread. People let me know all the time, I'm a little busy, or I'd prefer not to do any shows right now, or that's not a show that I'd like to do, and we respectfully take that answer for what it is, and there's not much you can do about that. But I think that you listening at home here are going to find, just like we did, that this is a completely different circumstance. Of course, we're talking about comedian Ray DeVito. Prior to appearing on the WATP show, I was actually unfamiliar with exactly who Ray DeVito was, but we were on the same show. I'd like to play a little bit of that clip here where Ray DeVito and I kind of meet each other on the air. Now, I do only have an audio clip here, but keep in mind, this was over a Zoom call, so we were face to face.
Guys, I've been teasing this for the last week now. We have a very special guest coming on to join the show. He's never been on the show before. And of course, most of you guys know what I'm talking about. It is David Collins from the 30-minute half-hour show. David, what's happening, buddy?
Hello. Hello. I have to correct you. I'm sorry to so quickly have to correct you. And I don't know why this is so common. The 30-minute half-hour show is not a show. It is David Collins' 30-minute half-hour show. But thanks so much for having me, Carl. It's good to meet you. We've never spoken before. Chris.
Hi.
And Ray DeVito. Now,
how are you, buddy?
And then just a few moments later in that show.
Right. Where you'll find that. Ray, are you familiar with David Collins? Have you seen this guy before?
No, I have not. My apologies. I've been listening to adults wearing diapers this week.
Yeah, you didn't
right.
get
That must be very exhausting.
You didn't get the David Collins assignment. Well,
certainly. So you can see right there, he's quick with the joke. He would have been a great guest to have on the show. So following that, I'm on the same show as him, the WATP show, and I think, well, why don't we reach out? Why don't we get a conversation going? At this point, I think that's always a good place to start. Before you ask anything of anybody, at least just have a conversation going. So we reach out to him on social media, no response for many weeks. We try to follow up. I'm unable to follow up. So we begin sending a few emails. I get no response. At a certain point, we have guests, we're trying to plan far ahead there, and the show is moving on. I think to myself, why don't I reach out to friend of the show, Blind Mike Geary, and ask him to see if there's anything he could do to assist in this, and I was very embarrassed to even ask for that, but he went ahead and tried to do that favor, talked to Carl of WATP, who assured us that he could just send a text and remedy the situation.
And then I remind me.
No, I have another super chat. Go ahead.
Ray DeVito has apparently blocked David Collins or something. My boy David Collins wants Ray DeVito on his show.
Okay.
And I think Ray DeVito would be a perfect David Collins guest.
For sure.
So I told him that I would in some way, I don't know how to contact Ray DeVito, but we got to get him on David Collins' show.
Oh, I can text him. Yeah, I can do that.
All right, cool.
No problem.
And thank you, Carl. I don't believe that it is anything to do with him particularly, although at this time Carl is not responding to my emails, or returning my emails, I should say, so we'll see exactly if anything's going on. Worst case scenario, I will be seeing him July 3rd, so that will be nice. We'll have a nice lunch and maybe do a show then, so I'm not too concerned about that exactly. I trust that he did what he said he would do there. Anyway, when that reaped no results, I resorted to commenting on one of his YouTube videos there. I just left a comment at the bottom, only attempting to confirm whether he was just ignoring me or if he truly just did not see any of that correspondence at this time. I write to him something along those lines. I've been attempting to reach you for a variety of subjects, and that's exactly what it is. We would have loved to interview him for the reality show, first of all, and maybe had him as a guest on the show in the future. But Ray DeVito was kind enough to respond in the comment sections. He assures me at that time, I haven't seen anything, not ignoring you. Which is great news, so I respond to him, well, all the correspondents are sending me automatic replies that let me know that he's not seeing them. So there seems to be an issue, and I hope that he would be to resolve that there. So we wait another week or two, of course, and at this point, I would just like an answer if he's purposely ignoring me, if this is just a prank, or what exactly is going on here. So I resort to actually going on to one of his live streams, and this is when, to me, Ray DeVito is revealed to be a liar.
Oh, I get it. David Collins, can I confirm you ignored my correspondence? I guess, what is my correspondence? Is this Stevie Lou doing the work? Like, you are the lawyer? You are the lawyer.
Sorry, this is taking
So I don't know who you are, David Collins, but I did not get your correspondence.
That's a lie.
Ray Concord.
Now, one thing about that clip, you'll hear me in the background yell, "That's a lie," a little quiet. Incidentally, I was actually on the phone with Hackride as I was listening to this clip, and I was telling him, this is very strange. Why is this person lying about me? So, at this point, you have to start wondering, why would he not want to appear on the show? Now, I have been known as a bit of a hot interviewer, so maybe there's something that he's hiding. So you have to ask yourself, what is Ray DeVito hiding? Ray DeVito, over his career, has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. He's earned a reputation that's a little tough in Los Angeles, as far as I understand. While I was speaking with Hackride, he actually sent me this clip, which is a Kobe Bryant joke that Ray DeVito made, very distasteful.
ABC News confirming the 5-time NBA champion for the Los Angeles Lakers was among 5 people killed when a helicopter crashed.
I did a new joke. I like the idea of it. Kobe Bryant's obviously it's one of the greatest players of all time. Him dying in that helicopter crash, like you can't really blame that pilot. Like it's Kobe's helicopter. Like if I'm a helicopter pilot and Kobe Bryant's on my helicopter and he gives me a pep talk like, dude, you can do this. I'm like, fuck yeah, we're taking off. I'm doing this. So I'm not gonna disappoint the Mamba. It's like getting a pep talk from Michael Jordan. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna fucking take it to the hoop. I'm gonna do this. And then he just ran into the wall. It turns out the mountain took the charge and. I saw the replay. The mountain didn't move.
Of course, I hold nothing against him. When it comes to a joke, we all slip up. I'm sure it happens to the best of us. If you make an unfunny joke, a joke is a joke. And my intention at all points here, I would love to have Ray DeVito on the show. We'll play a few games. We'll talk a little bit about his comedy, and maybe at one point we have to ask one hard question throughout the interview, but things move on and everybody's happy at the end of the day. At this point, I'm really just stuck believing that the only reason he's avoided the show is to avoid me possibly bringing up a specific topic here. So we're going to take a few moments to kind of break down Ray DeVito's infamous car accident. First, I want to start with this little summary here. In the story The Emperor's New Clothes, 2 weavers deceive an emperor by promising him clothes invisible to anyone unfit or foolish. Despite the lack of actual fabric, the emperor and his workers pretend to see the clothes out of fear of appearing foolish. Only a child's innocent observation breaks the illusion, revealing the truth and teaching the emperor a lesson about vanity and honesty. March 15th, 2018, Ray DeVito was in a car accident at I-80 in Pennsylvania. Now, there are 2 sides to every story. Fortunately, though, those last 2 details there, I-80 in Pennsylvania, allow us to pinpoint the exact place that this accident took place. If you do your own research here, and we'd be happy to email you these files, while we took a lot of time on our side here to get to the bottom of this and ask ourselves the tough questions, you can review this at the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation records, and they show the details of this accident read in part, vehicle in the right lane, a semi, was struck by the 9 o'clock position. Vehicle in the left lane, alleged Ray, striking from 3 o'clock. No ejection, no extraction, seatbelts used, no overturned vehicle. Now, why would we go over the details of this case here? Depending on which side of the story you hear this occasion from Ray, it appears that he is stating that this was actually a hit and run where he was flipped off the road by that truck and the truck drove away. Depending on which version of the story you're hearing, the hospitalization that Ray suffered following this ranged from 3 days to a week and a half. Following up on Ray's story, he claims to have been hospitalized in Altoona Hospital, which is very strange because best case scenario, the Altoona Hospital is 43 miles away from the case of the accident. Very more likely that it's actually much further away than that 43 miles. And on the way to that Altoona Hospital, you're actually passing multiple Trauma One care centers. So it's very strange that that would be the hospital they would go to. It's clearly becoming a very unlikely story. So you have to ask yourself, why would you be so dishonest with a story like this? Why not just tell the truth? Well, following Ray's car accident, a Kickstarter was started by comedian and healthcare professional Ruby Nicholas. This Kickstarter quickly raised almost $5,000. I would love to have brought these facts to Ray briefly and we could move on from it, I'm sure. I would love to have had him on the show to get his perspective. My speculation, this was one small lie to maybe her or 2 or 3 people that quickly got out of hand and turned into a monetary opportunity. But a large mistake, of course. Would have loved to hear Ray's sides of the story here, but as he has insisted multiple times, he's never heard of me, and he has not seen any of my correspondence.
What are you doing?
I'm emailing David Collins.
And now we can finally get to these great emails and great call-ins we have this week. Really looking forward to it. I wanted to start with this email here from Ronnie Weiss. Also, sorry, Ronnie, that this episode and this response is a bit delayed. I appreciate you sending this email here. David Collins. I'm at a loss. I'm doing consulting work and the client brought up a colleague who they were considering working with. I said I wasn't sure what the colleague was going to do with the client, and the client wasn't sure either. I came up with some ideas that I thought my colleague could help with, and the client thought they were good. I then reached out to my colleague, and he was upset about the whole situation. Instead of being happy about me finding a lane for him, he thought I put him in a box and was upset that I questioned what he could even do for this project, when I was simply confused. I feel like he misunderstood the situation, as I was just trying to help everyone involved. Did I do something wrong, David Collins? Ronnie. Well, Ronnie, that's a tough question there, but it does remind me of a story that I have. Growing up, when I was first learning to play chess, I remember this explicitly. My father at the time was going to make a move there where he put his queen in danger, and when he put his queen there, I immediately just took it with my bishop. Not knowing, though, that when I did that, I immediately led myself to be checkmate on the following move. And it's a great lesson to learn there. You know, misunderstandings happen all of the time, and they're very common, and sometimes just unavoidable. But thanks so much for that email, Ronnie. Next, I just wanted to get to this quick voicemail here from friend of the show, Austin Ingalls.
Hi, David. 2-time guest, best joke winner, Austin Ingalls here. I got a current event joke for you. All these whistleblowers keep dying. All these whistleblowers in the news keep dying. I think we should stop giving these guys whistles. Thanks, David.
And thank you, Austin. What a great joke. I think a lot of people were making a lot of whistleblower jokes here. Hopefully, for the sake of those whistleblowers, though, we don't have to make too many more of them. Next email here comes in from Matt O'Daniel, a familiar name becoming on the show here. Good morning, David. Despite the lengthy email 2 weeks ago, the idea or speculation that I'm somehow trolling needs to be thrown out. Attached is the picture of the garbage can outside of my work, appropriately named Jerry's Sanitation. Serendipitous, perhaps. Your quick wit better be showcased on another episode of WATP with Carl, is what I'm saying, and you're really good. TGIF. All the best, Matt O'Daniels. Well, thanks so much for that nice email, Matt. Of course, like I mentioned, worst case scenario, I'll at least be seeing Carl in July there, I believe. This Jerry Sanitation thing, I printed that out and left it for Jerry there. He ripped it all up, so I couldn't even... I thought it was a funny prank, though. Thanks so much for that picture and that email, Matt. What a great picture of that sanitation bin. Lastly, we have one email here from friend of the show, Todd Basinger.
Hey, David, this is Todd Basinger, 3-time guest, friend of the show, and 2023's David Collins 30-minute half-hour award show Worst Guest of the Year winner. I'm still pretty salty about that, by the way. I think, Dana Moss-Peterson should have taken that award, but, nonetheless, thank you for the plaque. Appreciate it. I'm just calling in to say, hey, excellent show last time with friends of yours and friends of mine, Austin Ingalls and Dan McCullough. Great show all the way through, though I was very disappointed in both of them in their performance in Sign the Joke. They went 0 for 3, and I'm sitting here listening at home. I went 3 for 3. Like, the first joke, how do you not know that's Dave Attell? He's talking about Jack Daniels. he talked about that as a kid. I knew that right away. Second one, a little bit of a deep cut, early Pryor. But guess what? If you're a fan of comedy, you should know that. And the third one, like a 10-year-old comedy special, Aziz Ansari, that was really popular, especially when they were kids. So they should have known that. It was just very upsetting. And, I'm very disappointed in both of them. But anyway, just wanted you to know that I went 3 for 3 in those games, and would like to be a guest again on the show. Keep killing it, David. Glad to see your success, and have a good day, dude.
Just a couple of more emails here to get through. One email here from Logan Rowland says, I'm offended by the word broad. Thanks so much for your help. Well, thanks so much for that email, Logan. If nobody got that, I think that was a reference to Blind Mike Geary and him getting fired from his college radio station. A very good joke, Logan. Thanks for that email. We also have an email here from Susie in New York City. Hey, David, not a big issue, but I thought the wall behind your guests last week's were really shiny. Can you fix that? Thanks, David. Well, thank you, Susie. Hopefully it was just the lighting. Boy, what a great episode. It's nice to have all that off my chest there. I was pretty nervous. What did you think about this episode, Jerry? I think it will be a little long, but that's going to be okay. Everybody listening, if you like that episode, make sure you email me dc30minutehalfhour@gmail.com. Boy, what a great episode. That's perfect. Everybody listening, I've been David Collins, and you've been the best.
David Collins.
30 minutes. Show with
David
Collins.